Moss.
Hello, Wendy Stuart. How are you? And welcome everybody to If These Walls Could Talk.
Oh my gosh, I am so fine today.
Good.
Everybody, today is such a gorgeous day. If you're in New York, it's summer.
It's gorgeous. It's like the high 70s. It's even going to get in the 80s tomorrow, I think, tomorrow and Friday.
Are you kidding? So do you
Yes.
think we're going to have an early summer this year?
Well, then it drops back down. But right now, enjoy it.
I am absolutely living for it. Well, you know what? I'm surprised Tim and I are still standing. This week has been a social whirlwind.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Starting last week, we're in rehearsals for Bitter Betty's, which is Saturday, April 29th at 8 p.m. at Don't Tell Mama. So please be sure to get your reservation.
Make your reservation. You can just, and it doesn't cost anything to make the reservation there either.
Right.
And it's cash only. So.
Yes, I was just going to say, it's cash only. But my favorite cousin in Florida, her sister-in-law, her husband's sister and her husband were in town the other day, and I had not seen them in probably 20 years. And we had a ball. I went to brunch with them down in Times, and then we ran around Times Square and did the tourist thing. It was so much fun. And then I got to talk to my good friend Michael Penny, who he directed and wrote and composed the movie Junk, which I starred in.
Michael Penny is an amazing person. He does in his spare time. This is what I admire about him, and our guest today would love it too. He makes miniatures of the Colosseum.
Aren't those gorgeous?
They're gorgeous. They are works of art. First of all, man, you got to have some kind of concentration or even ADD to be able, right? It looks like the Colosseum. He's amazing. How does he do that, Tim?
I have no idea. Patiently,
right? He does it.
But I actually had a date on Saturday.
Tim had a date. Oh my God! A reason to.
And it was really nice. And then that was in Harlem. Then I had to leave to stop by Stonewall for Tree Sequoia. It was his. He was
84th birthday.
Yes, his 84th birthday. And he works at Stonewall, and he was also at the Stonewall Rebellion. He was actually present at that. And then I had to leave there. But I had to leave there to go down to Soho Playhouse to see Sugar Daddy, which was a one-man show by Sam Morrison. It was incredible. It was brilliant. Unfortunately, it was closing night here in New York, but he's taking it to London. So all of my friends in London, please be sure to get to see that show. And then Sunday morning, I had brunch with another friend of mine that I hadn't seen for about 15 years. She's an author. She's an author from Austin, Texas. Martha Carr. And it was just so wonderful reuniting with everybody that I hadn't seen for so long.
It seems like you reunited with a lot of people this weekend. I know.
And then I left that brunch and went over and met up with you and everyone else.
The Easter parade. First of all, it was a surprise, of course, to see Tim. A bunch of us had gotten together, and yes, we had on our Easter regalia. If you want to see more, I put a load of pictures up on Facebook under Wendy Stuart. I have to tell you, some of the costumes were just so clever and
absolutely
so unbelievable. So, all right, Summer from the Imperial Court she has a Chihuahua that's a professional model, and so does Stacy from the Imperial Court of New York. They had their dogs have matching outfits, okay? But the thing about those dogs, I don't even want to use the word dog. It's blasphemous. They're like little people, and you put them in costume, and they sit there. They want to have their pictures taken. They don't try and take anything off. Summer was posed on the steps right in front of St. Pat she's beautiful with her sunglasses on, and she had a Fabergé egg on her head. Well, don't you think the dog had coordinating sunglasses and was wearing a Fabergé egg on his head too? They don't even try and take it off. Tim, it was spectacular. Of course, there were a lot of political things. Somebody came dressed as Donald Trump with a rubber mask on an orange prison suit. So there were, people use it for political platforms too. But I got to tell you, the Easter parade is like second to none. And one of my favorite things, we were invited to a brunch after. These two wonderful guys who I never got their last name, but I won't say no to brunch. And one of them is a writer for All My Children, and he had an Emmy. He had an Emmy. I took that opportunity. I seized it. I posed for pictures.
Well, so did everybody. I saw.
I know, but they weren't playing.
Lady Clover Honey with it, and I think Jed Ryan with it.
Well, for me, it was, I have the direct line to the universe. And I'm like, as I pose with this Emmy, I'm sure you can understand that I need to actually be on stage winning one next year. Or else why would I be holding it? I doubt anybody else did that. Oh my gosh. Oh, Tim, you were mentioning about the show you saw opening in London. I want to give a shout out here to Mindy Fraken,
who we also ran into at the Easter parade.
We did, and she is also known as Princess Wow. And her show is going to be in London. I'm very, very excited for her. It's called Woodstock or Bust: How a Hat Designer Started a Revolution. It's comedic storytelling, original smile songs, and multimedia projections. It is going to be in London, Etc. Theatre, 265 Camden High Street in Camden, London, April 23rd. It's a Sunday. Nice. 4 p.m. If you happen to find, I love it. She even wrote the price, £20. That's
I love it.
God, that's what I gained during the pandemic. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, what was great with meeting Mindy, I've known Mindy for several years.
I know.
But we had never met in person. That was the first time we saw each other in person. We both took the same courses or the same classes. Or a book club. We were in the same book club right. online. Richard Skipper's book club online during the pandemic.
Yes,
and so we've only seen each other online, so it was wonderful. Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and we will be right back with our amazing and wonderful guest Nataliia Skulska.
That was great. So. I had the pleasure of meeting our next guest here right at PANGEA. Catherine Schuler does a fashion show here once a month. Make sure you catch it. It's called Runway the Right Way. And Nataliia, who I'm going to introduce, was one of the designers here. I think what really intrigued me about her was not only the beautiful clothes that she had brought, that she designed, that actually fit me, because a lot of the models, it was runway for size 0, size 2, and size 4. I was an 8, and I was feeling like a plus size model that day. Nataliia had things that fit me, so I was indebted to her. But I loved her story. Her dream was to become a designer, and she came here from the Ukraine. Her family is still in the Ukraine, and yet she is based out of here now, pursuing her dream. But I can't get out of New York City, so to meet somebody that is doing this, it has found their way here, I knew she had to have an incredible story. So without further ado, Nataliia Skulska from Dana Design. Please come on into our little tiny studio here. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, how are you? And it's Nataliia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nataliia.
Okay.
Nataliia. See, I've got that one down, Tim. Well, Tim knows I butcher names, but I got that. I got it. First of all, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. So,
thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. You've been here. How long have you been here for? In the United States?
In the United States, it's like more than 4 years. 4 years on March.
In March was what?
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still like very, very new. So you were in Ukraine before that?
Yes. I was born in Ukraine, and I came here from Ukraine. I got married, and I came here to follow my husband in America.
In America. But yet your family is still in Ukraine.
Yes.
Everybody is there. And the last time, when was the last time you saw everybody?
My daughter was here. She visited me from latest December till January 14.
Oh, well, that's great.
She left back. Yeah, she left back to Ukraine.
And is your family in Kyiv, or are they all over?
My daughter, she lives in Vinnytsia, and my middle son, he lives in Irpin, but they moved to Kyiv because he has business in Kyiv. And my oldest son, he lives in near Kyiv.
Okay.
And my mom lives in Vinnytsia region. Yeah.
So your whole immediate family is really over there. So for people here, right, Tim, we only know what we saw in the news. And what I was telling Nataliia, initially the first year of the war, every day we saw things. Now we're seeing less, yet we know things are still going on over there. Just from your family, and then I want to get into your designing, but I love having you here because we don't get firsthand information. And we all know that the news is filtered before it gets here. How does your family go on about their day-to-day life? I mean, I imagine for me living in New York, I hear too many sirens and I'm like this. Yeah. How do people function?
My life changed after February 24.
It did.
Last year.
Yeah.
It's changed to the bad because I visit my family right before the war began.
Okay. I
was in Ukraine and I had information from my friends. They said, listen, like on January, we will have a war with Russia. And January 20, I was at the airport sitting and waiting for my flight. And they said exactly about this day, January 20. And nothing happened. And I said to myself, thanks God, nothing.
Wow.
And what happened in 1 month?
Wow.
And I felt like I couldn't sleep. All my family are there in Ukraine. So every time, we have different 7 hours. And every time, sometimes at night, I could walk up and check.
Yeah, I know. You stopped sleeping because of the time change. You start looking.
That day, I really woke up at 3. It was 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. I don't remember. And I felt something going on with me. I felt not comfortable. And I immediately went to YouTube and I found Russian bombing Ukraine already. So it was horrible. It was horrible. I checked immediately on all of my kids because with mom, I didn't have connections at the time. Because,
oh my God.
And I checked on everybody and I asked them and everybody said, yes, okay, there is a war.
Wow. I have to say, the Ukrainian people, their resiliency is amazing to me. But recently,
I was just going to say, and their patriotism.
Their God,
love for their country.
Fierce patriotism for their country.
I will tell about it also, about patriotism. Because, and every day I began to check. So I lost my my patient, I lost my soil, I lost everything because I was worried so much about everybody. And from that time, it was beginning of the new journey.
The new journey.
It wasn't about the design. It was about to help my family because
because of the situation over there.
And my brother, I have another bad story. My brother was military and he went to the war and we lost him.
You did lose.
I saw the New York one.
We lost him, and
while you were looking for him.
You still don't know.
We still don't have any information. Any information what happened to him. He was not alone. He was with 12 soldiers. It was like a team. They were spies. And they went to do something,
but still no information.
How long has that been?
It's almost 1 year.
Yeah.
On May.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's happened May 25th.
I mean, none of this is at all surprising, and I think the story here. And thank you for sharing your feelings and your story with us. People have to, I think, realize, as caught up as we get in our day-to-day or our superficiality, what I look at Ukraine, and when I saw the buildings on TV and the streets and everything, I'm like, God, it looks like where I live on 79th Street. That's what people don't realize. I have to say that fact that the Ukrainians, there's someone I spoke to over there that was illustrating someone's who came on my show. She had someone illustrating a book for her. The person illustrating the book, amazing artist, is in a basement in Kyiv. All right. And she's working from like underground. And I mean, you know, you think about, right, that people still are trying to live their lives, you know. I'm sure your family is too.
My mom, she lives in the village.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit calm down about her because it's village and it's like a middle of Ukraine.
Right.
So there's no war. And
so there are parts like, see, I'm learning to Nataliia. So in the little villages, depending on where they are, it depends on where they are.
It's more in the cities that the attacks and everything is occurring.
Yeah, I would think where they could do the most damage, right? Take out electricity, take out the transportation systems.
And when the war began, my son with his family lived in Irpin. And I remember it was next day or in one day after war began, I called him and I said, "What are you doing, guys?" And he said, "Mom, I am staring through the window and I see like helicopters, Russian helicopters.
I know. Can you
try to fight to the Ukrainian?"
Oh my God.
You could see that.
And I said, "Listen, how far you are, guys?" And he said, like 7 kilometers. 7 kilometers is like less than 15 miles.
Yeah, you could see it.
And I said, "I'm crazy. Why are you still there?"
Right.
And he said, "Okay, I will call you. I will call you." And they left Irpin immediately after I talked to him. And they left to spend like a couple of days with their friends. It's like out of Kyiv, out of Irpin, out of like small village,
right?
But beside the Kyiv. And what happened next? They come back. They thought they will come back in a few days. They come back. My son come back on May. It was February. My son come back on May.
It's like 3 months.
Yeah. And my daughter my daughter-in-law come back after she come back from the USA. She was here.
Okay, she'll come here.
She was here.
They come back in May. What was there when they came back in May?
So they were lucky. Their apartment, residential building, Russian used for the place to stay, to live. So
you imagine, Tim? Right, this is right.
It was not too much.
So the Russians occupied the apartment buildings that they were. Oh my God!
The ones that weren't bombed out. The ones that weren't bombed out.
The city, if you had Bucha, Gostomel, Irpin, Irpin, the city of where my son was living, was destroyed like 70 or 80%. Was burned.
You realize how much,
bombing.
Right?
It was so bad.
Wow.
No, I cannot even begin to comprehend the invasion where this foreign country just comes in, is causing all this destruction, takes over the entire building because they want to set up their command station there and run everybody. I cannot even begin to comprehend.
Running you out of your own. I mean, the pictures that we saw, the mass exodus of people,
and just the destruction,
belongings, right, in 2 suitcases. And walking and driving and taking and just trying. I looked at them and I thought, my God, I've got a lot of animals. What about your animals? You were leaving everything.
Yeah. And how many of them were killed by Russia?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
How many of them were
they never made it. Right.
Yeah. If my son, it's just crazy. If my son could stay longer, I don't know even.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
Because a lot of people were just shot in the cars when they tried to left city.
Oh my God. I mean, how inhumane.
Right. Well, that never, in war, it's war, right? It never.
Well, but a lot of times there are rules to war. It sounds like there are none.
No,
there are none.
for Russia, no rules.
Yeah, I had heard that from a group I knew from over here called Rubik. They were going over there and training civilians to be medics. That, you know, the Ukrainians are extremely organized. People didn't have backgrounds in medical, so there was a group from here, from the Explorers Club, that they had come. They were on their way over to Ukraine to train people to get out there so that they could do the medical. I mean, it is, you're right, Tim, completely inhumane. But listen, you know, when you watch wars that have happened all over the world, you would just hope, that you'd be past it at this point.
Right.
You know? And at the end of the day, this is about to murder all of those people, to get that land, to make your country bigger. It absolutely is crazy.
Absolutely. Well, firstly, I would like to thank everyone for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful and incredible guest, Nataliia Skulska. So now, I would like to kind of change gears here, if we could, because we've seen the destruction, we've seen the pain, can we go back to your country? Let's go back to when you grew up there. Did you have brothers and sisters? Well, you had a brother.
Yeah, just one brother. I have just one brother. I still say I have one brother. I cannot say about him because the miracle happened. Maybe who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we don't know.
But now, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in a village, or did you grow up in a city? Or
no, I grew up in a city. My dad was military, and him and my mom, they travel a lot, and with us, with me and my brother.
So where did you travel to?
Because he was in military, and every time they change his location, like we were in Hungary, we were in Estonia.
Oh, so you did the whole Eastern European thing.
Yes.
Wow. So you grew up in being exposed to different cultures.
Yes. I was born in Ukraine, but then I was like maybe few months, and my dad was served in Estonia, and they brought me to Estonia, and like till I become 5 years old, we moved back to Ukraine, and we stayed in Ukraine. We lived in different cities. It's military. It's
okay. Well, just like here, military, you travel all over. Were you a creative kid?
Oh yeah.
She didn't even have to think about that.
And when I was at 10 grades at school, we went to Hungary. And they spent 5 years in Hungary. I stayed just for 1 year, and I left and moved back to Ukraine.
You moved back to Ukraine.
Yeah, I finished my school. So the rule said, go back to Ukraine. Your father stay in Hungary, but you go back to Ukraine.
Right.
Because that would be very difficult. I mean, if you've went to the same school and you've got all your friends in Ukraine, and then all of a sudden you go to a different country with a different language, and that would be difficult.
But it was Soviet Union time, so.
Right.
Oh, I see.
So it's how many languages do you speak?
Russian, Ukrainian, and English.
Okay.
Just rolls those off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's like she had to learn English, Russian, and Ukrainian. I have no feel for because I know Russians here. I know Ukrainians here. I've heard the language. I just don't have an ear for it. And yet you've mastered all three. Wow.
Thank you. So when I come back to Ukraine, but my dream was to be designer, to design clothes.
Really?
I was going to say, as a little girl, did you like dress up?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like in Ukraine, was fashion a big thing? Did they have in the cities?
No, not at all. Maybe these things was pushing me to be more involved to design, because we didn't have nice clothes at stores. We didn't have opportunity to buy something special because it's Soviet Union time again. And I began to sewing for my dolls when I was like maybe 10, 11.
Wow, you were dressing your dolls. Yeah,
dolls. And then I tried to make something for myself. And my first dress I made for my graduation at school.
Oh, wow.
I was 16. Yeah.
And you made your very first dress.
Yes, it was real nice first dress that I made when I came to graduation to the event, and everybody was looking at me and they said, "Oh my God, you look like a bride." It was a white dress. Yeah, it was long white dress.
It was white and lacy and.
No, it was not lacy, but it was sparkly. It was special fabric with rhinestones. It was so nice. So
now, when I think of Soviet Union at that time, I forgot that. Yeah, you would have experienced the Soviet Union and then the freedom of the Ukraine,
right?
And now this, but so yeah, that would have been very controlled. It would have been very
completely
different society.
Yeah, Soviet Union was 15 republic together.
Right.
And I don't know, it was like tough time for everything. I remember when I was like 10, 11, I stay like for a couple of hours from morning to afternoon to buy some sausages at store because we didn't have it.
So you were on we heard about food lines. You were on food lines.
And I could buy even 1 kilogram for all family.
Wow.
Yes, it was limit even how much you
after you waited
can
online,
buy.
right?
It was so that time, yeah. And about clothing, about design, I felt like I don't want to buy anything that I can meet some women outside and they will wear the same dresses, the same they will have the same outfit. So it is one of the pushing me to make my own clothes for myself, like something special that nobody will wear.
Right.
I love that you're like a flower that grew up in the, in the cement, right? There's a crack and there's a flower that grows. For me, even her designs, I have to say, they're very feminine, very floral. They're very feminine. They're not hard lines; they're soft lines. Yeah. All the pieces that I saw here, even what you're wearing today, the drape. I'm going to touch the fabric. It's soft and. Yeah. You had the need to create that, which is so special.
Yeah, because flowers is my passion.
It's your passion.
The next is flowers.
Right.
So, and after I finished my school, I thought about how to design and how to get profession to design clothes, and I started. It was belongs to knitting industry. It was like a lyceum.
Okay.
And I began to study knitting industry. And then I was working at the factory. We made knitting clothing. And
so you did like what we call cut and sew knit clothing at the factory. Yeah. But it wasn't using any of your design. You were producing it.
I did.
You did. This is great.
Nice.
So this is in the Ukraine. You were actually able to get a design job for. That's great.
Well, so did that start with you were working in the factory and then you just started saying, well, how about if we try this or try that?
I did both.
That's fabulous.
I worked at the factory, and after my work, I was sewing my clothes at home.
We call that moonlighting.
Yes, I love that.
At home in the Ukraine.
I was sewing anyway.
I was sewing. You had to do it.
Yeah,
that's passion. That is definite passion.
Yeah, but at some point, 1990s came and Soviet Union was broke up.
Right. Now I want to get into that. But firstly, thank you everyone for tuning into If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss and our wonderful and very fascinating guest Nataliia Skulska.
Tim is doing so great with the pronunciation. I think that you can learn Ukrainian, Tim. I'm convinced now.
Okay, so the 1990s, the wall came down.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine the cultural shock that Ukraine went through at that time, because now it's free enterprise, it's open. And so you were working at the factory at that time, or doing the designing?
No, the factory was closed.
Factory closed.
Yeah, because no money, people didn't have money, so it was closed. And to survive, I changed my profession. I studied accounting.
Smart. She had her fallback position.
It was not too many choices what to do.
Right.
I become an accountant, and I was working till I come here. I was working as an accountant and as a director of my own company.
Wow.
Yeah, before I came here.
Wow.
So, but all these years, I never stopped to sewing. And I remember even a few times my daughter, she said, Mom, just leave accounting job and open your own
Of course, right.
own business and make clothes. But it's different than in America.
Right.
It's not too much opportunities to do
well,
this.
you just can't hang out a shingle. That's what we call it. You just can't hang out a shingle and say, we're open.
Well, we also kind of skipped over a few things.
We'll go back.
You found your boyfriend, you found your husband, and then had children. And
yeah. I got married when I was 18.
So young.
Okay.
So young, yeah. And I have 3 nice, beautiful kids.
Wonderful.
And my daughter, my daughter was like a significant thing, because it was really hard story how I get her. But anyway, I have 3 beautiful, magnificent kids.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of them in design?
No, not even one of them.
Not even one. No desire
My
for that.
oldest son, he can do any work. He working as a handman.
Okay.
He making everything by his hand.
Uh-huh.
Working with air condition, ventilation system.
Yeah,
in Ukraine.
a trade. He does a trade,
Yeah,
what we call a trade.
And my middle son, he has good education. He's an engineer, but he never did engineering job. He is a businessman in Kyiv, and he has his own companies. Everything is nice, and everything is fine with him. And my daughter, she's a soft engineer.
God, the kids are all technical.
She graduated from a university, National Aviation University in Kyiv.
Amazing.
Wow. She never worked as engineer. She at her last grade at university, she studied at French school, soft engineering. Yeah.
Okay.
And so when she graduated from university, and she began to work, he went to Hungary. They invited her to do some work in Hungary. She was in Hungary for a couple of years, and she moved back to Ukraine, and she's working now for American company
in Ukraine.
In Ukraine, yeah.
So you go next, and then because I'm like,
so literally your children had many more advantages
than you
socially in society of the Ukraine than they did when you were growing up at that same age. Is that correct?
Of course, for sure. Yeah.
I think what I wanted to, what is mind-boggling to me after what we saw with the war there, like, you know, your son that has his own company, your daughter's working for an American company. They get up and go to work every day. Like, how do you do this now? How do you do your life in the middle of a war?
Yeah.
Right.
So I just want to check on my daughter-in-law, my middle son, wife. We made for them Ukraine for United for Ukraine program, and they came here with my granddaughter because they moved to Poland. They stay in Poland. They moved to from Poland to Spain, from Spain back to Poland.
Tim, listen to this.
Yeah, it was like traveling, and then I said, just come here. You have opportunity to come to me and for your safety. Yeah. And they came last year. They came on May, and they stayed till August. And then she said, "No, I cannot stay anymore. We would rather die together than I will separate from my husband.
Right? I
go back to Ukraine."
I mean, this is it's your home. This is what.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And she said, "No, I cannot stay separate." They were stay separate for 6 months, and she said, "No, if I don't go now, I will stay next 2 years, and he cannot come to visit us. We cannot go.
Yeah, your whole life is blown up, right?
We rather will stay together, and we will see what happens." So they now back to Irpin, and they live in Irpin. My granddaughter spent sometimes in a bunker because it's warning.
Of course.
Warning.
What does she do? What about school? Like, how are they?
They do school.
How do they do school in the middle of a war?
They go to school, and if they hear sirens, they should go to bunker.
Okay. So it's under the school.
Yeah, this way.
Wow.
8 years old girl have
she has to go to a bunker.
Yes.
Wow. And your son and daughter, do they have offices that they go to during the day, or they work from home?
What if they go to, they have a store, and they should go every day. They should go to a store to Kyiv.
They have a place that they work.
Yeah, it's small. It's a huge mall, and they have
they still need to go from their home to someplace else. Well, what we call commuting.
Yes.
They're commuting in the middle of a war. I mean, that is just mind-boggling to me. Can you imagine, Tim, that like you don't know what's going to happen next?
They should survive. They should make money. They should buy food.
They have to. You have to live.
They should live. Yeah.
Right.
And the bad situation was really from December to beginning of March, because Russian tried to destroy all energy.
That's when they attacked the energy systems. The energy plants.
System. And they didn't have all belongs to the light. If you don't have light, you cannot cook food. You cannot get heat.
Well, I know they had no heat there for the long. Wow.
Yeah. But they said, we are strong. We will survive.
We are strong.
Yeah. They use
absolutely.
They use some generators to get heat, something. So they survived. Now it's much better.
Amazing. The resiliency is amazing.
Recognize they cannot destroy it. They cannot destroy it.
Wow.
But again, I'm just so amazed at what you have experienced in your life in that one country, where from the Soviet Union and the strict regulations, and then the shattering of the Soviet Union and becoming an independent entity, and just seeing like the beginning of I guess capitalism, and people opening stores and maybe making dresses and doing all of that, where money started to flow, and industry and people started, because there is a lot that we rely on, from what I understand, coming out of Ukraine, that they are a contributor to the West.
Yes, but the time from 90s, all factories were destroyed, like business went down. And we had people who brought clothes from Turkey or China.
Okay, right. They were buying from Turkey and China, as we do here. We have a lot of factories there.
So I think before 2000s, we didn't have any opportunity to make any business.
Right.
Everything went down, and it was easy to bring some clothes from Turkey or China. And make money. The business was based on these things. So bring something from abroad.
So but then it changed.
Yeah.
Then
it changed. Yeah, it changed. Like 23rd, maybe it began like people tried to make some business in Ukraine to recover, to open something. But anyway, I cannot say the fashion design is the same in Ukraine. No, we don't have fashion shows like here. We don't have so much opportunity like here in America.
Well, I was just referring to like the country itself became thriving. It became, it moved. It had its own things and started standing alone on its own.
Right, I get your point. Right, stand alone.
To come from the Soviet Union, where you are just stripped of any identity whatsoever. Yes. And then finding your own and building your own and creating your own country and being proud of your country, and then having Russia coming in to try to just take all of that away from you again.
Yes.
That I think is where the real passion and
what happened.
The real patriotism is coming from the Ukrainian people. They
want
to keep their own.
Look at the history of Russia coming into Crimea. Mm-hmm. Okay. This has been the history of these takeovers. But here's a question that Nataliia could probably answer for me. Probably 15 years ago, Russia, particularly like Moscow and all of that, because I'm in the fashion industry here, we started getting loaded with models. loaded with designers, magazines. You had Russian Vogue and all of that. So all of a sudden, and I knew people that were actually going over there to work. So all of a sudden, seemingly, it felt like they were becoming like here. And we heard that there was a ton of money there and all of that. I'm just telling you what we heard here. From your point of view, was that really happening, or was it a very select group?
I know a lot of Russian girls, they tried to leave.
They tried to leave.
They tried to leave country because Russia. I was in St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg. Yeah, it was like 19th, 18th, and it was nice city, but I didn't see any good things like nice stores, nice life. Everybody in gray and brown and black.
That's how I imagine.
Yes.
Right?
And I never was in Moscow, but I saw a lot of news documentary. The Russia is like people say, it's like 100 miles. If you make cycle around Moscow, it's a really nice area.
Right.
But if you go deeper,
gray and brown.
No.
it's just
now. Tell us a little bit about Dana Design and just the joy that brings you now that you're here and you're able to create your own looks and your own designs and floral.
So when I came to America, nice, beautiful country that is really amazing opportunities and everything. You feel free. And I thought, what I should do here, because I cannot sit just home and do some. I should do something, and I decide finish with accounting. Finish, and I thought, okay, if you are here, you should do what you will enjoy with
passion. Your passion.
Yes. And I said, okay, design, make clothes. That is what you enjoy with in Ukraine. So here, it's more opportunities. Just make clothes. And then what happened? COVID.
Oh, COVID. Oh my
God. And then, guys, it helped me really 2 years. I was sitting home and I was making clothes.
Designing.
What it is we do. Yeah. I tried
that worked.
To get friends. I was working. I was working for the nonprofit organization. They help people to dress up for interview, for work.
I know. What is the name of that organization? Oh my God!
It's called in Philadelphia. It's called Wardrobe. So I don't know how it's called.
It's for people that don't have resources, clothes, anything, and they try and make it as positive as possible. They have people dressing and makeup and hair and all of that. So it's so great. Thank you for doing that. Really, thank you.
And I worked from September till the beginning of COVID. Of pandemic, So it helped me really to improve my English, to enjoy my work, to meet some people. It's really, I was really enjoying this job because I saw people and I helped them really to dress up nicely, to choose right clothes, to choose right way to dress up. Yeah, it was so nice time. So, and I spent COVID time to make clothes, and then I met Catherine Schuler.
Oh,
and she's I call her. She's my everything.
She is a fairy. Catherine Schuler is a fairy godmother. She's an angel.
Because of her, I am here.
She is one to learn from, definitely.
She is the essence of who she is. She is a global personality that wants to help people. Absolutely. My husband, as a photographer, shot Catherine as a model, top model. But Catherine is so far beyond that. She just creates all kinds of opportunities for models, for designers, for people in general. I can't say enough about her. And she does a monthly show here. For anyone that's listening in the New York area, you can look at PANGEA's website, and they also put out a schedule. Catherine does her fashion show here called Runway the right way. The right way being that there's no typical body that should be on the runway. And her designers also, I met Nataliia, I met a wonderful woman from West African origin as well. Her clothes were, I forgot her name, but her clothes were also roomy enough for me to get into. But Catherine is an amazing person, and she takes people under the wing.
Yeah, and it was the event I thought I will make in Philadelphia call for casting models and designers casting.
Got it.
And I went there with my clothes, and Kat was there. And
wonderful.
She said, "Did you bring your clothes?" I said, "Yes." So okay, dress up models.
That was
and
it.
When I begin to dress up models, she said, "Oh my God, okay, I will take you to New York for fashion show."
It was for fashion. Yeah.
Okay, I am ready.
It's a great story.
Ready. Yeah,
I love that. Now, how can people find out more about Dana Designs? Do you have a website, or is there?
I have Instagram. My Instagram. Yeah, I have my Instagram and everything.
So tell us what your Instagram is under. What's your Instagram?
What's the name?
Yeah.
It's Naty Tailoring. Naty Tailoring. I want to change the name, but for now, it just in the beginning.
Just spell so if people want to know.
They can find it by looking up Nataliia Skulska, right? Which is printed right underneath.
Nataliia,
and it's two eyes at the end of
Nataliia.
No, only one eye in that.
It's just Nataliia Skulska.
Okay.
On Instagram, Nataliia Skulska.
Nataliia Skulska. Okay. Nataliia
Instagram. But she also has a Facebook site, and Dana Designs is on Facebook.
Dana Designs.
Okay.
I found them on Facebook too.
And they attach to each other,
they're linked.
So, they link. Yeah. So
that is wonderful. That's wonderful. I thank you so very much for coming on and sharing your life experiences and to educate us to Ukraine a little bit more into what is going on there, and to sharing with us your wonderful and beautiful designs. We are so grateful for that.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Nataliia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now that is the end of the broadcast, of the 45-minute broadcast. So now we can just sit back, relax, and chat a little bit more.
Right. Which we love to do.
Yes. So, Kat. So now your designs. You had mentioned like Chanel. Chanel was an inspiration for you.
I inspired Chanel, but now more by Herrera. Carolina
Herrera. Yeah. What is it about Carolina Herrera that speaks to you?
Dresses. The dresses, design, flowers, so many flowers, and like I'm not high-tech person, really.
Right.
I'm romantic, so I try to make it romantic.
Right. You're not about clean, straight lines. She's not Issey Miyake.
When you see like a textile or a what is that called?
A bolt of fabric.
When you see a fabric, can you see this would be pretty if I had the shoulder, do you kind of see the design?
That is what I do. Usually designers, they make a sketch and then they go to buy fabric.
Right.
It doesn't work for me. I buy fabric, and the fabric can be like for a couple of years, even couple of months before I decide what to make. It can happen like immediately.
Right.
I don't know what to make. And then 1 minute, one look at the fabric, and I know what I want to do.
I love that. So you get your inspiration from the fabric.
Yes, from fabric, not from design, from sketch.
Do you ever create a muslin? I know I've worked with designers that do a muslin first.
What is muslin?
I'm sorry. So muslin is like a lightweight burlap, as if you had a burlap bag, and they take and drape it as a fit model. Then they take and drape it on me.
So it's kind of a prequel to the actual dress,
right? But you know what, I don't know how they do that, because I have no feel for it wearing it. It's like I don't know how they know what they're going to do from the muslin. Maybe you can explain that to us.
Some designers, they use just a dummy to make a dress,
right.
to make a clothes.
The dummy,
they just pin,
yeah, they pin,
and then they
pin.
cut. No,
Right.
I make patterns.
You make the pattern.
I make patterns. Yeah,
right. But you don't take and make from your pattern. You don't make a muslin first.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, it's hideous, Tim. I've had to have them on, and the armhole, nothing's ever right. You're sitting there, you're like Quasimodo in the thing. I like the way Nataliia works.
Now, have you ever made like a dress for a man, or an outfit for a man? Maybe a unisex, like something, because I'm looking, I'd be interested if you do.
I made for my kids, for my I remember for my son, I did a lot of like sweaters with some special design. And I remember I make for my middle son, he asked me about pants and jacket, and I made it. It was jeans, it was nice, but it was a long time ago. Now I'm more patient about women's clothes and kids. I love
kids clothes. Wow.
Clothes. Oh my God. But I made not too long time ago for my friend, I make a coat.
You did a coat? Wow.
Yeah. So, and Catherine said, just make another one, the same coat, and we will like put it.
Well, see, like for myself, I like things like this.
Yeah. I see it. Yeah.
So Tim is looking for something unstructured and flowing.
That's not necessarily for men or women, but
it's
So if you come up with something, if you're looking at some fabric and think of something like
okay.
Tim, the silhouette you have on that you wear, you like that silhouette. I've seen you in it before. You like that, right? It's flowy.
Yeah.
And
I try every time when I visit my family in Ukraine, I bring fabric.
You do.
Oh, nice.
Every time. This is Italian silk.
Wow. I got to touch it again. It's beautiful.
From Ukraine, that I bought in Ukraine.
Wow, nice.
Who has a fabric store, and she bring fabric from Arabic countries, from Turkey.
Wow, from all over.
So nice fabric I buy usually in Ukraine. And here is like a hunting for me, because I try to get something nice for good price.
Right.
So,
but if New York on 37th Street between 7th and 8th, and 38th Street between 7th and 8th, and some are on 36 between 7th and 8th. I'm giving you the exact locations. Tons and tons and tons of fabric. And there's a place called Moon. You know that you know them already. Whenever I need like costumes that I just pin together, I go there. All the drag queens go there, but a lot of the designers that I know go there as well. We do have great buys on fabric here. Maybe you can, get some
my
stuff
last
here too.
project was for Richmond Symphony.
Oh, right.
I made 2 coats for conductors. And we spent fabric from Woodstock.
You did get it from me. Now, Catherine was a part of that. I saw she got a lot of publicity on that. It was for the Richmond Symphony Orchestra. Right. Isn't that cool, Tim?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, they look great. They were all like, I think the quote was, they played beautifully. Now they had to look beautiful. It was something like that.
The project we finished. It's almost 1 year project.
Wow.
And I was involved last summer. On July, I made samples for musician. I made 2 jackets, 2 pants, 2 shorts, and latest I made a vests. So from the zero, from the sketch to the sample.
Wow.
I made it. And every time we were in Richmond to do fittings, to meet musician, do measurements, and we finish.
What a great project.
We finish.
Absolutely. Well, you just continue having a wonderful time following your heart, and I know your heart is being pulled in different directions.
Right.
What's going on in the Ukraine and your family there, and but yet you also have your passion and your love for design. So try to keep focusing on the design.
What do you tell yourself to keep creating? Because sometimes even I feel like I say I have a paper clip on one side of my brain. That's where all the worries are stored. And sometimes the paperclip on that side of the brain takes over all the creative thoughts on this side of the brain. What do you tell yourself to keep creating when you have those worries?
Creatives help me to not to think too much about Ukraine. It's helped me now, really. It's helped me to change like a little bit my feelings. Sometimes I should just put myself to the heart solving, because you can kill yourself if you every time you worries. And I remember one time we had a meeting with my friends and another people, Russian and Ukrainian, and we were talking about Ukraine. And I said, listen, I just my heart is just bleeding for all Ukraine. For Ukraine. And somebody from the team, they said, oh, it's because of your family out there. I said, no, because no, it's not right. It's bleeding for all Ukraine. And I cry when I see on YouTube, I see photos of soldiers that was killed 19, 20, 25, 40 nice sportsmen, conductor last I saw a few days ago. It's so bad. And I said, no, I cry. I feel not for my family only. I feel for all Ukraine.
Right. For what was built there, for the country. And again, our hearts go out to you and to all of your countrymen and your country in the Ukraine. And I do hope that this comes to an end soon. I really do.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah, we all do.
Thank you for coming here and your story, and for letting people out there know what it's really like.
It's really horrible. It's horror. It's the worst things that you can even imagine happen to Ukrainian people, to kids, to women.
Well, again, you just continue creating and bringing beauty into the world.
Thank you. And all my collection I dedicate to Ukraine, and all my collection I begin with Ukrainian outfits, with a lady who wear headdress of Ukrainian style and dress of Ukrainian flags colors.
I love it.
Very nice.
Yellow and blue.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you before you go. When people find you on social media or on Instagram, or you can actually contact me, I'll put you in touch with her. You will do custom clothes for people, right?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. You can have something beautiful made.
Yes. Unique piece.
A unique piece. You hear that, Tim?
Yep, I like that. I'll be there.
Hear that, Tim? So we can put you right here. We can put you in touch with Nataliia Skulska, who's been an amazing guest on here today. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Love and create with love.
Made with love and created with love. Love it.
Thank you, Nataliia Skulska.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.